stargazer of Alexandria, Hypatia's quiet legacy. Hello, and welcome to this gentle exploration of an ancient city, a brilliant mind, and the steady glow of wisdom that still reaches us across the centuries. As you settle into a comfortable position, I invite you to imagine gazing out over the harbor of Alexandria at dusk. Let your breathing slow, inhaling a calm sense of curiosity and exhaling any tension from the day. Picture the water reflecting the evening sky, the silhouettes of ships anchored in the port, and faint lanterns shining along the shore. Alexandria stands as a beacon of scholarly wonder, and you are about to hear a story of a woman whose quiet dedication to knowledge became a guiding light for centuries to come. In ancient times, Alexandria was a jewel of learning, a place where the minds of philosophers, mathematicians, astronomers, and writers converged to exchange ideas and push the boundaries of what humanity could understand. The Grand Library of Alexandria was reputed to hold countless scrolls on every topic imaginable, inviting researchers, travelers, and curious souls to gather in its halls to study and debate. This city was vibrant with diversity, blending Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and other influences into one cultural tapestry. In this setting, a bright dawn for learning seemed always on the horizon, carrying with it the spirit of exploration. Imagine the daily rhythm of the city, with merchants setting up stalls filled with spices and goods from distant lands, philosophers passers-by pausing to engage in impromptu discussions about the nature of the universe, and the steady clamor of scholars heading to lecture halls. Into this hive of ideas, Hypatia was born, sometime in the late 4th century. Her father Theon was a well-known mathematician and astronomer who nurtured his daughter's talent from an early age, providing the best education and encouraging her curiosity. In words like geometry, philosophy, and stargazing were not foreign to Hypatia. She grew up in an environment where enrolling in deep study was celebrated as a noble pursuit, and she found a calling in the abstract beauty of mathematics and astronomy. Picture her as a young student, standing alongside her father in a chamber lit by flickering oil lamps, poring over diagrams that traced the arcs of planets, the geometry of circles, and the patterns that seemed woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. She absorbed the fundamentals of logic and critical thinking, honing her ability to reason without fear, to question even the most established beliefs if the evidence warranted it. Her mind, ever curious, wandered into the vast tapestry of the night sky, where she found a special fascination with the stars. As she matured, Hypatia not only inherited Theon's passion but surpassed it, venturing into realms of mathematics and philosophy that mesmerized any who heard her speak. Through careful observation of celestial motions, she refined calculations dating back to earlier astronomers, improving on methods of plotting stars and planets. Students came from near and far to hear her lectures, delivered not in hushed reverence but in a clear, measured tone that inspired confidence and curiosity. She demystified complex concepts, paving a way for a more orderly comprehension of the heavens. In her classroom, she blended the logic of mathematics with the speculative depth of philosophy, encouraging her pupils to approach ideas boldly, testing them against reason and discussion. She guided them to observe that the movements of the skies followed predictable cycles. She affirmed that in understanding these patterns, one could perceive an underlying structure to existence. She was not just a teacher of numbers and astronomical theories, she was a mentor in the art of thinking itself. As word spread of her abilities, Hypatia became a respected figure in Alexandria. Her presence as a woman in academia was unusual in a deeply patriarchal society, yet she earned admiration among scholars and even government officials. Some texts suggest that community leaders sought her counsel on political or administrative matters, trusting her balanced perspective. She carried her role with grace, never flaunting her gifts but using them to illuminate what she believed was a path toward truth and understanding. However, the world around her was shifting, Political and religious tensions were escalating, and factions vied for influence. In a city as brilliant and diverse as Alexandria, conflicting viewpoints often collided. In her quest for universal knowledge, Hypatia respected all fields of inquiry, but her impartial stance unintentionally placed her at the center of growing discord. Her devotion to rational thought clashed with the fervor of those who saw knowledge as a threat to faith or power structures. Unfortunately, this internal turmoil in Alexandria foreshadowed tragic events. Ultimately, Hypatia became a symbol of intellectual independence, and in a climate charged with suspicion, she faced hostility. According to historical accounts, her life ended violently around 415, when a group of aggressors, motivated by political and religious zeal, sought to silence her. The brutality of her death has echoed through centuries of reflection on religious intolerance and the fragility of academic freedom. But even as we acknowledge the sorrow of her final hours, let us also remember that her legacy transcends any single tragic scene. She left behind works on mathematics, commentaries, and possibly treatises on astronomy that guided subsequent thinkers. Her role as a teacher resonated through her pupils, who carried forward her methods of logical inquiry. Though the famous Library of Alexandria would later burn in various conflicts, the light of Hypatia's teachings remained alive in the West and the Arab world, echoing through translations and references. Her name emerged much later as a courageous figure in the history of ideas, reminding us of the resilience of knowledge. In philosophy, her dialogues on ethics and logic showed that inquiry must remain open, allowing multiple perspectives to coexist until evidence corroborates or refutes them. In mathematics, she reinforced the precision of geometry and numerical reasoning, linking them to broader philosophical questions. In astronomy, her passion for the stars and her drive to chart planetary movements set an example for how empirical work could inform deeper insights about our place in the cosmos. As centuries passed, scholars, historians, and advocates for women's rights looked back to Hypatia as a symbol of intellectual virtue and a sign that brilliance knows no gender. Her serenity in navigating disagreements impressed upon others that a commitment to truth can stand even when buffeted by the storms of public strife. She stands as one of the earliest recorded women in Western academic history, bridging the gap between classical knowledge and the forward march of new ideas. When we consider her quiet legacy in our modern world, we might think of the scientific breakthroughs built on centuries of mathematics, observation, and theoretical debate. Each time we chart a new star or launch a telescope into orbit, we follow in the footsteps of those who gazed at the night sky with wonder and a desire to understand. Every conversation about ethics or the structure of reality has subtle echoes of the philosophers who dared to question accepted truths. In academic halls today, where women teach with authority and conduct groundbreaking research, Hypatia's presence is felt as a testament that the mind is not confined by the boundaries of gender or time. Her story shows that ideas, once illuminated, do not vanish with the death of the thinker but can disperse like starlight, crossing distances of centuries to inspire hope, curiosity, and awe. The threads of her intellectual influence, though delicate, are interwoven into the broader tapestry of civilization's pursuit of wisdom. As you reflect on this tonight, imagine that each thought you have about the universe, each spark of curiosity, is another star shining in a shared sky of endless possibility. The movement of the heavens can bring a soothing sense of order to our own thoughts. The predictable cycle of sunrise and sunset, the graceful journey of the moon through its phases, all these patterns remind us that we are part of something vast yet harmonious. Hypatia studied the stars in a bid to understand the cosmos and our place in it. Her voice travels through time to whisper that knowledge is infinite, that wisdom comes from persistent exploration, and that truth endures when we have the courage to look beyond immediate fears. Let these reflections calm your mind as you wind down for the night. Like stargazing on a clear evening, allow your thoughts to float gently, knowing that knowledge unfolds in its own time. We live in a world connected by discoveries that philosophers, astronomers, and mathematicians have handed down to us, and each generation adds another layer to that constellation of insight. In the quiet of your rest, you can let yourself be carried